So welcome to episode 5 of Making Zak the Ripper. I know, we're motoring along. So this week's episode, we thought we'd jump into more kind of the look at the film, our references, our inspirations, our ideas, then get into the cameras, lighting, lenses, and where we're at of all of those. But to start us off, let's talk about our kind of references and mood boards and the things we've been sort of referencing as how we want this film to look and what's the tone of the piece, color palettes, etc. So as the director, talk to me about your influences and references and inspirations.
I always kind of imagined Zak the Ripper being a kind of big, colourful movie. I don't know why that was always it. I never imagined it being kind of dark and grey. I always kind of pictured it being, sort of a more fun kind of colour palette. And I remember early on I sent you the sort of mid-seasons of Brassic, where it's lovely and colourful. I really like that. And that was always a reference that I quite liked. But Brassic can get quite dark, can't it? It can be there's sort of darker moments, but which we have as well, of course. And then we've been throwing bits and pieces back and forth, and we like screen grabs some things we like and screen grabs some things we like. And then quite ironically, mad timing really. The other day we were watching. Well, it was prior to the England game, wasn't it? I think that kicked off at 10.
Yeah.
And I sent Matt a message saying, just watching Tiptoe on BBC One, and absolutely loved the look of it. And you were doing exactly the same, weren't you? At the same time, it was kind of weird. And so it's that kind of thing when you're we're looking at stuff we like. And when I was watching that, I was kind of thinking, oh, this is it. It's kind of big and bold and colourful and beautifully lit, and it looks kind of lush and gorgeous. And that's kind of what I'm. So over to you. that's what I want on our budget. So it's kind of, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is that it's working within our budget, but also aiming as high as we can. And so that's what, hopefully when you see the film in a few months' time, you'll see a colourful kind of vibrant movie. We're shooting it in Brighton, which is a colourful, vibrant city. And we're going to hopefully bring a bit of that out. That's the plan.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's funny not to pick you up on where it was shown, but it was actually on Channel 4 rather than BBC. So I'm sure someone will say.
Right, okay, fair enough. Sorry, Channel 4.
Yeah. But it's watching. It was funny because we both, exactly as you said, watched that, and I really liked the look of it. I thought it was really nicely shot and well graded, and just nice contrast and color. But wasn't that real dark, sort of shadowy, David Fincher 7-esque, because the film is part of what the film is about as a serial killer. That's kind of the context of the film, but ultimately it's a comedy. I don't know. Would you describe it as a dark comedy? How would you describe it?
It's a comedy.
Yeah,
I don't think it's particularly dark, is it? I think it's a comedy, and I think that's that's what it is really. It's a British comedy.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think you're right, because I've kind of thought, well, whilst a serial killer is quite dark, but it's not Zodiac, it's not Seven, it's not it's none of those films,
and it's not up front, is it? It's kind of it's in the background of our story, what's going on there, and so I sort of up front, it's a big British comedy. Hopefully, that's the plan.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, Tiptoe was a great reference, and I think one we're both keen to sort of have a look at, putting that sort of into our film. And then the colour palette of the film as well. We've got, what our locations have got some really bright, primary sort of colours in there that we want to bring out and have that consistent sort of look and feel and tone of the film. So it's I love this part of the creative process of. Because you've got to be very intentional with this stuff, or you've got to really think about it and be very intentional before you shoot it, and understand what you're doing in this space, rather than just because it's one of those ones as filmmakers. I think that when you're watching a film, you might not consciously register certain things, but it takes you into the world of the film, and it's almost like subconsciously kind of goes in.
I was going to say, and when you see, you'll watch something on TV or the cinema, and you won't notice it, like you say. But then if you see that show broken into its screen grabs of every scene, like maybe 60 screen grabs, you'll see an amazing thing happen. It'll start in a certain colour, it'll move through different colours as the characters are changing and moods are changing. It's really a science to it. And but the kind of key, it's one of those sciences that it's like sound design, is that you don't want to notice it.
No.
And if you notice it, it's kind of, if you're noticing the grade, then you're probably not right. But I
Yeah.
think, but it is really, really interesting. But like you say, it needs to be something that I think the temptation sometimes is just, oh, let's just get it shot and we'll grade it later. But is particularly because we're dealing with some big, colourful locations, which is we purposely chosen. I think that dealing with it now is quite key, really.
Yeah. And I had a lovely conversation with our editor, Andrew Lynch, today, or rather, when was it, yesterday now, and we were talking a lot about this and the intentionality of the shots, the tone, the color temperature in the scenes, and talking about emotional states of characters and the color temperature in the scene, and where they're feeling potentially isolated or alone or not able to connect. Do we make that a much cooler scene rather than the warm kind of loving embrace of a warm color temperature, and how we do that intentionally rather than just, oh, let's do that because of that. It's like, essentially, it's like when we've talked about camera movement, are we moving the camera because we want to just move the camera, or are we moving the camera because it's intentional and it's rooted in a reason rather than just doing it and trying to have, like drone shots. We talked about drone shots, haven't we? Throwing in drone shots just because we've got a drone that serve no purpose other than, oh, we've got a drone, so this looks nice. It doesn't tell a story. It just shows that we've got that particular piece of kit. And I suppose the other elements we've been talking about is, well, certainly on my side, is looking at the cameras we're going to use. And rather than going into like granular detail about what cameras, I think, again, it was about you and I having those conversations about how do we want to shoot this film and what's the best tool to do that. So do we need an ARRI Mini or LF Mini or anything like that, and a big camera package and a big, and it's massive data files, it's a big camera to work with? Or do we want something that's a bit more agile and lightweight that can be put on a fly cam and we can get our shots, which is kind of where we're going to. That's what we're looking at, and that informs the type of camera that we're using with the type of lenses as well. So all of these things influence how this film will look. But the shooting style, what, from your point of view, from a director's point of view, how, when you were first writing it, how did you envisage it would be shot?
Well, I suppose initially, I think with a film like this, with the budget we're working at and what we want to end up with, which is a kind of lovely looking, plush looking British comedy, it's energy, and it's retaining that energy. It's the hardest thing with filmmaking is energy and pace. And so initially, my preference is always, I love working with shots on sticks, on tripods, just because you can frame stuff beautifully. I love that. And it was with Fright, our previous film, was all that. And so we could literally build these beautiful shots and scenes as we saw fit. This has always felt to me like, despite my, leaning towards that style, the more sort of, painting a picture style, a bit more energy. And so we came like the Flycam idea, just so there's always some movement and it frees you up to tell the story in a better, be able to move. So so it's kind of energy really is the key word for me, is energy and pace. And I think we get that with a little bit more, not handheld in a sort of documentary style, but a little bit more movement, a little bit more durability, I think.
Yeah. It's not going for that Bourne identity, Bourne supremacy, shaky camera, everything like that.
No, definitely not.
It's kind of just having the frame always alive with some level of movement. Because I certainly, I don't know about you, but I really notice it when I'm watching certain, whether it's film or TV, and stuff is kind of all locked off and it's on sticks, and it has a different, nothing right or wrong about it. It goes back to what's the right thing for the thing that you're shooting. And I think for this project, it feels like that is the right way to do it, because there's, without giving any spoilers away, from very early on, it's like there's stuff always happening, isn't it? There's always things happening, movement, and having those right tools. So and the lenses, I've shot a lot of stuff with zoom lenses. So we've moved into purely prime lenses for this shoot as well. So again, it's kind of being very intentional with the lenses that we use for the shots that we do. So for a wide shot, we're going to use a different lens. For ones, we're going to be over the shoulder, and there's going to be a lot of changing of lenses to get the shots that we want at the focal lengths we want it, using great cinema prime lenses. So and then the lighting side, is, as I said in a previous episode, working with my gaffer to, really set the lights and building out our lighting list, making sure we've got all the equipment that we need to light it, but also not to, be have a set that it's just full of lights and no one can move, and it's like everything's got to be right. Okay, it's that shot, we're fine, and then we've got to do a whole new setup for that shot. It's lighting spaces, giving actors freedom, and not overcomplicating it. I think, again, it's almost like moving the camera, with intent, and it's lighting with intent. It's not just, it's being very careful about what we're doing and the time frames we've got to do it in. So yeah, it's been interesting, and I'm sure it will develop as we go on the set as well, and we pick certain shots, and some will be slightly different. So
yeah, so it's the thing that's like you say, it's timing a lot of it, isn't it? Is that with a big budget and 3 months to shoot, you're shooting a minute or two a day, so you can really get into the granular lighting of stuff. We're probably looking at needing to shoot 6 minutes a day of on-screen stuff, maybe sort of 6 pages a day. So not an enormous amount. We've done more. We shot Fright in 10 days, and I shot 6 years ago my film previous to that in 10. And so that's a different challenge altogether. But we've given ourselves double the time, but also, we've got more than double the shots to get. So I think, it's key for us to be able to light and shoot relatively quickly without losing any of the sort of quality we want.
Yeah, well, that's filmmaking is compromises, isn't it? So it's time, quality, etc. What we need. I was trying to think in terms, because we've kind of titled this equipment episode and kind of inspirations, I suppose, as well. I don't think there's a huge amount else to cover at this moment without sort of really diving into what cameras, what lenses, which maybe we'll do another episode, because we're still, the camera package and the lighting package is essentially still to be 100% confirmed. And that's going to be happening very shortly. So maybe once that's been done, we can dive into a bit more detail about that, where we've sourced it. Because I'm based in Hove, you're based in Seaford. There's some local providers that we're keen to work with for this project that we'll be reaching out to, and then building out those packages as well. So and perhaps we can share online literally a list of what we've got, equipment wise, to actually to shoot this, how much that costs, and what items line by line might be helpful for people to hear and understand as well.
Obviously, I'm not a tech cameras lenses director, am I? I'm an actor's director, I think. So that might be of interest, possibly. The fact that I'm kind of, I'm interested in what you do, but it's not my prime. That's it, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's actually good, because we can talk about the different relationships between director and DP. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. So, one of the things we've talked about was our working relationship as a DP to director, and that comes in many different forms to different directors. So some directors are very prescriptive, and they'll know exactly what lens, what focal range, and right, this is the shot I want, and then the DP goes off and just creates that for them. And what I love about our working relationship on this side is that that's not really something has been a massive focus for you, in terms of like, okay, that lens, that camera, that, and it's more kind of like, what's the feel, what you're trying to get, and our conversations, okay, well, what do you want from this shot, and then you trust me to go and construct that, essentially. So do you just want to talk about your kind of how it works from your point of view working with a DP? I
think maybe I'm unusual on that front. I don't know, but I've almost purposely avoided having too much knowledge of what you do. I kind of don't want it in a way. I'm not a lenses, cameras director. I am, and I think, an actor's director. I want to work with actors, and so I think with independent filmmaking, you've got so much to do anyway. The thought of me bothering you constantly about lenses, and you don't want it. I don't want to have to do it. I want to pass that to you. You're the expert on that. I can then concentrate on working with actors. So yeah, it's been an odd journey through my years and years of doing this, is that I've always made an effort to not learn too much about your side of it, because I think we'd lose something there. It's the same. It works both ways, doesn't it? You wouldn't continually be bothering me about the directing side of it and the actors, and I won't be bothering you too much about your side of it. And in the middle, we meet at this kind of happy place, I think, which we have done on Fright, where it's just calm. Again, it always comes back to me being just calmness. And between us, I'm fairly, you may not see it from these podcasts, but I'm quite energetic on set, and I'm quite fritzy, and I'm kind of, all energy, and you're kind of calm, and that I need. And I think, if you were the same sort of personality type as me, it'd be a struggle if we were, because I'm a bit all over the place. And it works well, I think. Although, the proof will be in Zak the Ripper. So let's see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But it's nice though talking about that relationship, because you're right. It's not that we stay in our individual lanes and never cross over, because I'll have thoughts on direction and script and wearing the kind of producer hat, as it were, rather than the DOP. But there's always, I'll always, ultimately, if there's a decision that needs to be made in terms of the direction and the script, you have final decision on that, and then we'll work on the sort of the DP side, the lenses and stuff. I'm sure you would trust me to make that final decision as well. It's like, okay, no, this is a better lens, or this is a better composition potentially for this, and that kind of back and forth where we don't, as you said earlier, we don't argue. We bat and forth back ideas, and then ultimately the best idea wins, really, isn't it? I think that's really key.
What's nice is that so much of that is happening now with this storyboarding process. In fact, the storyboarding process is taking us weeks, isn't it? But it's really, really worth doing because of this, because we won't have these discussions on set. And I think that's the part of it. One of the parts of it that's really been beneficial, I think, is that we are, by the time we get to set, a lot of the decisions will have been made. There will be, it always happens, there's a bombardment of questions from when you're a director on an indie, is you're just questions all day, and that's my job basically, is to field those questions as best I can whilst working with the actors. That's kind of what my job entails on set. So the less of those questions there are, of course, no, it's true, the better I can work with the team and with you guys, and hopefully get the product we want.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's exciting stuff. Okay, cool. Well, listen, that brings us to a close for this episode. So we'll be back. So this is episode 5. We'll be back for episode 6 the following week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to content. If you want to subscribe to our newsletter and get exclusive content that isn't shared anywhere else about the film and the production, go to zaktherippermovie.com. That's zaktherippermovie.com, which will also be displayed somewhere around here on our screens. We'll see you soon for episode 6.